Okay, so nobody's getting the truth from the mainstream media, folks. It's well past time to open your eyes, your ears, and your mind. Do your own research because something isn't right here. And if you can't see that, you are not paying attention, folks.
It's the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The important message that we need Australians to get vaccinated as quickly as possible. In line with that, I do encourage all Australians to please go and book your vaccinations as soon as you can if you haven't already done so.
Emma, get away!
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Okay, we need to stand up against this tyranny, folks. Stop giving away your freedoms and liberties, because the more you give up, the more these people will take until you have absolutely nothing left. That's their agenda. Well, there ain't no promise of the deep state's vision, guys, because it is falling apart left, right, and centre. Now we got FBI feel a need to leave the country if Trump, starts to make progress in this little situation that we're caught in at the moment. So, guys, very interesting what's going on around the globe. The deep state's on their last, look, it's their last hurrah, guys. It's their last big throw, right? And what it is to get enough immigrants in to get these, police forces and other things to want to act against the people of that country. They know their own people won't turn on themselves, and this is where they're going to. And as we can see, guys, with what's going on around the world, this is what they're pushing for. All right, they are pushing hard for it, and they are bringing it in. We've got fear porn all over the Twitter and that. We got guys with knives, on camera, making out their frigging heroes. It's just insane, guys. All right, they are wanting civil unrest. They can't get it. They understand they can't get it, and they're going to every actual measure to get it. So well done again, guys, right? We just hold them off with prayer, all right, and doing the right thing. So, the deep state is in absolute panic, guys. All right, that's what I'm calling it, okay? And to go along with that, we got Vic Poll, 50% approval rate, guys. They like to have around 85% approval rate in the boys. All right, they're down to 50% down there. All right, and that's because of why? Well, I was just talking to someone, and how we supposedly, we pissed, or we didn't, but the Melbourne people, apparently there was someone seen pissing on the shrine, and that's why everything got heavy down there in Melbourne. Well, a load of bullshit, and I'm not going to break the story, but I was talking to someone tonight that's going to break the story. We'll have him on the show next week, but he's got his own shows and that. But, guys, all bullshit again. They lied. All right, they lied and people died. Okay, that's the way it went. Okay, and they've done this all throughout it. All right, so, again, there's going to be some stuff coming out about, just how they shot you down at the shrine and that, guys, and on what pretenses they actually did that. All right. So the new Mexican president, I think we've all worked out that she's a CIA plant by now, guys. Okay, so it's going to get very interesting in Mexico because, again, you're going to see the deep state having to try and get things their way. Righto, we've had heaps of rain down here. Picton evacuation could be on just up over the mountain here, guys. Warragamba Dam's on the overflow. Sanctuary Point, Huskisson have been absolutely smashed. All right, so we're having a lot of rain down here. All right, a lot of rain, guys. Hopefully it's backed off now. But anyway, we won't go into too much more. We'll get because we got Jody on, so we'll bring Cazza and Jody in. And Jody's got some things to talk about. He's, we've all got to look after our mental health, guys. And Jody's been putting out a couple of things, and he's got a little saying going, and he wants to get it out there. So, Jody, welcome once again. Welcome, Cazz. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Hey guys, how you going?
We're good.
Now, Jody, you've put out this here on Facebook. Times. This is my
Project.
emotional story. The Times Project, yeah. And this is the statement that you've made from it.
4 years we've been in turmoil in this country, physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually, as we try and work our way out of what was true and what wasn't. The stories need to be told of the Australian people that were affected by what went on. Whether you like it or not, everybody's life has changed, most for the worst. My life was turned upside down when I was told that I could no longer work in my job where I looked after people and their safety at my mine site, because not taking the trial vaccination, as they would call it, meant that I would be putting my workers at risk. I lost 2 jobs in that short period of time over the 6 months where they mandated against me. I was forced to no longer be allowed to be a member of my community, no longer able to go to a gym or go to a restaurant or go to certain shops, but I certainly was allowed to go to the bottle shop and go to the chemist, as they locked us down away from friends and family. Even now, knowing that vitamin D played such a massive part in the likelihood of you to be severely ill from the so-called scamdemic virus, no time did they ever say that gyms and vitamin D would be free to the public. Someone once told me that my mother deserved to die if she showed up to an emergency ward at the same time as a vaccinated person and there was only one bed available. She had made her choice and therefore she should suffer the consequences. I've never known a time where so many friends walked away from us, so many family members rolled their eyes at us. My 3 daughters had it in their arms before I could even finish doing the research that would tell me that I didn't want them to. It's been a sad time and it's been an emotional time for everybody, whether you took it or you didn't. But I think as a country, we need to come back together now. We need to at least have a look what was right and what was wrong. We need to have a healing process, and these videos are designed to do just that. Tell the story of Australian people that the government won't tell, that the media certainly won't tell, and start to get comfortable with the fact that something went wrong. This is not an I told you so video. This is a warning for the future, that when people start weaponizing words against you and tell you that there is only one side to a story, it's very dangerous waters. Thanks for watching. This is my emotional story. The Times Project needs to be heard by all Australians.
Cool.
Wow.
I'll have to do one, Jody. I'll do one for you, mate. We'll get it out there. But yeah, Jody, this has been, like in far out, man, I've met you, Jade. I only met you once, you know what I mean? But I did meet you the other month. And, what I could say about you is when, you and I shook hands, mate, you know what I mean? We could have made the ground shake, you know what I mean? Because we're both men and we fucking like to have a handshake, you know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
we think we're pretty tough, but man, this has been frigging hard, hasn't it? This is, as me and Cazz say, to just turn up here every night and do a show, guys. Some nights you can see I'm not too high. I got to pick myself up to get through. Why? Because we're under it, guys, and we're under it in a lot of different ways. And with what is coming up, which is a bumpy road, all right, we really need to be on our mental health. So, yeah, Jody, just take us into it, mate. You've made this this bit of a declaration there or video, saying, so what are you after? You want people to get out on video, give their emotional story. Let's get some stuff together out there and get it trending. What's your actual avenue?
Yeah, obviously, I'm always on here and I'm always doing videos of myself. I'm quite used to having the camera in front of my face now. A lot of people aren't. They weaponize social media against us. They weaponize the ad campaigns against us. And one thing I know about algorithms, because I've learned how to use the system to navigate them over the last couple of years, is that they like to propel pictures of yourself and things of your own viewing. And we're just in a world of analysis paralysis at the moment, with everybody just constantly sharing endless amounts of videos. I mean, I post hour-long videos all the time, and within 15 minutes of posting it, it's had 25 shares and 100 likes. And I'm like, you can't even have watched it in that amount of time. So, people are just in the habit of sharing who they trust with their content, but not actually, doing the work to watch it anymore. So I just ask people to get rid of all the, get rid of all the fake names and all of the different things that, they hide behind from the time when the trolls were really crushing them, and actually start standing up and put a human face to this and say, this is my emotional story. And as these people that wake up that, have been fooled and wronged and coerced, and probably mostly, have got a lot to realize how damaged and divisive they were, as they flew with the winds like a kite, getting blown around by whatever the government sort of told them to do. They've got a long way to come back, and I just think that this country needs now is more than ever to say we will not forget, but we can forgive. And I don't ask you to forgive the people that have done this tyrannical to us. I don't ask you for the people that have injected people to have them, but I ask you for the Aussies, and even just for themselves, for the people, whether you had it or not, just to use this as a milestone in time to say we have achieved so much with so little support to get to this point. We have used so much energy and so much of our life to get to here. Put your flag in the ground. Do your video. Get it off your chest. Tell the world what it was. Let all Australians hear your story. In short version, and let's move forward together from here, because the tide has turned. People are waking up, and we've got to look after our mental health. I do a lot of work in the spiritual sort of world of understanding to look after yourself energetically, not just physically. And we understand that. You understand your version of that, and I understand my version of that. Where we realize that it's more than just a physical plane that we're playing with, but the things that we're up against at the moment have got their systems turned up full ball. The devil worshipping pricks, they don't wake up and sort of have a day off. That's why you two, get up every day and go, today is the day that we're doing the show. Tomorrow is the day that we're doing the show, because it's not an option. You know what I mean? So, so we full respect for you for that. And, I know how hard you work, and I know how hard it gets. And behind the scenes, just to keep your head up above water, it's crushing. And so that's why, every now and again, I like to go back to what I really enjoy, which is my mental health company that I spend a lot of time trying to deal with people's trauma, and hope that we never ever have to,
and we've got to sort of do this on our own, Jody, because like we were talking pre-camera, the companies and the corporations don't want to know about, the solid fix for humanity, mate. They're just not sold on the idea. They're told what they have to do. They're following the narrative, and you can't get. It's like when we lost Jesse, and we, come up with Jesse's Law. Brilliant laws. Politicians loved it, but we couldn't get it in anywhere. They will not have it. It's part of their design, guys. And this is why this is all about what Jody's doing here. Is what we're trying to do is build your community, right? Get it done in communities, all right? Get to know people. Get to be able to lean on people, so they can lean on you. You can lean on them. This is what we're going to need to get through this, guys, all right? And this is the easy way you're going to get through. Go, Cazz.
No, well, it's interesting that you're saying communities, because Jody, I know I've been told by several people that whole communities, small communities, that where everyone knew everyone, were completely and utterly split. And there's still a gaping wound. One half of the community still does not speak to the other half of the community. Even a situation that I was told where they had a concert and they actually gated off all of the unvaxxed people. Like, they put a great big fence around it, and like, it was just crazy stuff that you'd never ever hear of in Australia. We've always had mates, but we've always, you look after your mates. No man left behind. Fair go.
And that's what worries me, is that this country need a physical war to bring it back together? I mean, that's what brought that sort of camaraderie together in the first place. Standing beside your mate, no matter whether he was black, Chinese, or bloody Italian, it didn't matter. You're an Aussie. And I don't want to see a world where we have to, go to war in trenches and young people die for, old fat people to get richer. I don't want that process. I want to be able to have the maturity in this country to come back together and stand together against the common enemy now, without having to bear arms to do so. We have an opportunity to do that now, together now. And I think that part of that healing process is admitting that, I would have 100,000 followers if I just said that it was everybody else's fault. I spent a lot of time saying that I was coercible, that I had too much debt, I had too much excessive, too many toys. I was so close to having to have that jab because I was going to lose everything, and I luckily I stood my ground. A lot of people didn't. I still not yet to meet this person that got the jab because they were worried about COVID, or you know what I mean. So we know that they we know that they were coerced. We know that it wasn't the right thing, but more so than that, we know that this world was a bad one before that. Do you know what I mean? We know that this was we know that this was a place that was difficult to navigate even before this put this extra pressure on it. So I was working on my mental health company before COVID came along. I had 3 projects with BMA where I was working at the time to help miners who had broken families because they spend 6 months of their lives living away. Yeah, they've got big fancy wages, but there's 6 months of their life they're living in a 3 by 3 meter dorm room, bloody eating sloppy shit food, away from their family. So there's a lot of alcohol problems, a lot of drug abuse, there's a lot of family issues. So I was already working on that when this came along. And boy, oh boy, if you want to put fuel on a fire, that's what they did when they locked us all down, divided us, and put this together. So the Times is just about trying to get people to actually put together a small 3-minute video. This is my emotional story. The Times project is basically just trying to get everybody comfortable with the fact that we have to say this stuff out loud. We have to say the quiet parts out loud, the parts that we've been too scared to sort of say, the parts that we were fearful of retribution for, and that it actually strengthens you to stand in your own power and realize how far you've come and what adversity you've faced, and you're still here and you're still going.
Yep. Well, let's have a look at a few things that are taking this country to where we need to actually, just say stop and enough's enough, guys. So, Cazz, whack in a couple of clips. Let's get a.
All right. First of all, let's. Great job there. That's Parliament Lawns yesterday. That's the Forest of the Fallen. Awesome work, guys. Now this is the kind of crap that's going on. Like, I've got 2 juxtaposing stories, and when you see them, one side and the other side, about how they're oppressing teenagers on a scooter, and then what the corporate end of the government's doing, it's just outrageous.
By police, this teen had no idea riding his e-scooter was illegal.
Can't believe that, man.
The 15-year-old was pinged in Mitcham on Sunday afternoon, his electric scooter impounded, and he was slapped with a court summons for driving unlicensed, which carries a maximum fine of $2,000.
We didn't know it was illegal, so if we knew it was illegal, we definitely wouldn't be buying him a scooter. We saw them everywhere, and we saw kids riding on them as well.
Currently, only rental scooters like these can be ridden in public, and Adelaide City Council trials in the midst of a 6 extension, buying the government time to finalise laws legalising private ones.
We're going to treat them like e-bikes because I think the regulatory framework needs to be relaxed here.
If that's the case, riders wouldn't require a licence nor registration for third-party insurance. But Tom Koutsantonis says, unlike e-bikes, the new rules would ideally include differing maximum speed limits for footpaths and roads and an age limit.
We're never going to allow children on an e-scooter on the road. I say this respectfully. It's irresponsible and dangerous.
The government hopes to have e-scooter legislation to debate in Parliament as early as July, but it'll still be months before they're legal on SA roads.
Hopefully this can speed it up so that people are not so confused.
Kimberly Pratt, 7.
Unbelievable. Okay,
Yeah.
First of all, the cheery way this reporter's telling that, like, this is what she should be doing. She should have an attitude of, what on earth is going on in Australia where you are actually fining kids for e-scooters? It's just unbelievable. Now, before we actually comment on that one, let's just put this one in and listen to and then we'll just basically do a breakdown of the both.
G'day, TikTok. They tried to hide it assiduously, the New South Wales Government Health Department, but we have the document here, the lease document, which shows that they flogged the Northern Beaches Public-Private Hospital to this. It's now domiciled in the Cayman Islands for the princely sum of $1 a year in a 20-year lease. And they flogged the car parks for $1 a year. Also,
$1.
car parks at hospitals, if you've ever been to one lately, are a real money spinner. There you go, another $1 a year at demand. So we're going to ask the New South Wales Government, have you got from Brookfield your promised $1 per year that you sold this hospital for after spending $1.2 billion of our money building the thing and the attendant road structures? Check out the story on the website. It's huge public interest because a lot more assets are being flogged to these guys.
So,
What do you got? Yeah.
Jody, did you want to weigh in on it? Dave, did you want to weigh in on it?
Oh, look, it's just absolute. We can sit here and just watch this. The average Australian doesn't know this is going on. This is why these shows need to get out, guys. That's why the website stoptherightsacktheLot.org needs to get out, because the general public don't understand what these cretins are doing. They got no idea. All right. And, we have to put an apology out too. I'll put that out at the end of the show, guys, for, a politician. We've crucified the wrong guy up in Toowoomba, I think, or some of Townsville. Anyway, we'll look at that. But, yeah, look, this is just what's going on in the background. Jody?
When I do my mental health stuff, I talk to people about when you lose a loved one or you lose, something significant in your life. It's called a ton of, you put a ton of weight on your shoulders, and everybody wants to help you pick up a ton and get it off your shoulders because it's visible. Yeah, this government and all of the people that go with it have put a ton of straw on its, on its people, and it's really hard to know what it is that's weighing you down the most and which part of that, which straw is the one that's going to break you. But at the end of the day, that's what they do well, because it's just drip by drip, just putting that weight and pressure on top of every single Australian until the back breaks, and you feel weak because it might be just that tax, or it might be just that e-scooter, it might be just that, just that little fine that puts you over the edge, and you can't quite understand why you're reacting the way you are. But it's a ton of weight, and they do it deliberately, but they just do it in such a small way that people just don't know the time, like we talked about before. You're getting shagged in the ass. Excuse my French, but and you never even know when you consented to do it because you didn't. You bent over a barrel and they're doing it to you without you even knowing that they're there. So,
well, before the show we were talking about that, and it's we're not anti-government, we're anti-corruption in government. We believe in good governance. This is not what we've got going on here in Australia at the moment. So
no, we got a deep state plan that's getting rolled out super quick, guys, super quick. All right, they're coming, right? Because as I said, they're in trouble. They know the world's waking up. Okay,
That's
and they're,
exactly
they're
right.
moving hard.
And there's more of it as well. Like the Kangaroo Court, they've covered, Shane Dowling's covered, the corrupt NACC Commissioner Paul Brereton exposed protecting his mates in the ADF, including Governor General David Hurley from war crimes. So, and he goes on to say that the problem is that the Commissioner, Paul Brereton, is also a Major General in Australia's Army Reserve. So the most senior officers are Brereton's mates. He goes on to say he's been busted in his Brereton inquiry report trying to protect his senior officer mates and the Australian Defence Force. So, it's just basically it's a boys' club, but it's worse than that, because it's a boys' club that it's like they expanded the corruption because, you've heard the bank's too big to fail. If they expand the corruption so big, it's too big to fail. It's just everywhere. The corruption's just everywhere.
Yep. This is why we need to be, taking back our communities, guys. All right. Let the other things do their other things in the background, right? Let, the people who are good at taking them through the courts, take them through the courts. All right. And our general duty job is to bring our communities back together, right? So these other people can have an effect. We've got a sway of people on the ground, a swell of people growing. All right. And this is what we need, guys. All right. We got to get our councils back. Okay. So, yeah. We got to bring you all this news, guys, because it's what's going on. All right, but what we're trying to do is ignite you into action. It's tyrannical. They're taking everything off you. Everything.
Well, it's even more also as well, because there's also covered the Robo Debt Royal Commission. He's asking the question: was it the biggest sucker punch in legal history on the Australian public? So we've got that, but also on that, we've actually had some good news because hang on, we got another one. The ABC is running the story. The anti-corruption watchdog decides not to pursue robo corruption investigation. So it's just like they know that we know, and they don't care that we know.
No.
Like, it's just like, well, what are you going to do? And I would say at this point, I would charge the army, if there's any officers in there, it's actually time for you guys to step up. Anybody who is moral in legal services or anything to do with government and is in a position needs to step up. This cannot continue.
Yes. Yeah. So many. Sorry, I was going to say, so many people continue to scream at me that it's got to be the 1215 Magna Carta, it's got to be the Constitution, it's got to be, it's got to be common law. And I'm like, we haven't won the fight yet. You don't start picking. People in Palestine aren't trying to work out where they're going to rebuild their school until the bombs stop dropping. You know what I mean? Like, we're in the middle of a goddamn war. How about we get together, have the common enemy and win the bloody war before we worry about how we're going to rebuild after it? I mean, realistically, there's people out there that know what we have to do afterwards. That's great. But just the unity that we need as people in this country to come together and say, let's fight first and worry about, and worry peacefully. We can do it over a cup of tea how we want to rebuild it once we've got rid of the enemy. Like, there's so much in-house fighting at the moment over how we're going to win the war. And I'm like, what we're going to do after we win it. I'm like, let's just win the bloody thing first, like
we are having some victories. You've got this scare campaign. Anthony Albanese fact-checked after claiming nuclear power would put Australians under threat. So it's nice to have the tables turned on him.
Clown show.
It's a clown
show. Well, they get they get their information from the cabal, and honestly. They get all their information given to them, and you've got them up against the ropes that much, punching them that I think that they're freewheeling a bit on their mics every now and again, and they are shit at it. So without the email instruction of what it is that they have to say and how they're going to do it, they're pretty ordinary when they get to speak on their own. When they haven't got
they'd have no chance of turning up every night and do what we do, Jody, just living off truth, mate. They wouldn't have a friggin' chance in hell.
No, absolutely.
No,
I said
they won't even come on the show. They've been invited plenty of times. Look, we've also got this situation with the local growers devastated as Woolworths swaps to Chinese and South African fruit. We've covered a bit of how the supermarkets are absolutely screwing the Australian public at the moment, or screwing the farmers. And now they're going to
bring in GMO sprayed, acene covered fruit and vegetables for you guys because they can't kill you quick enough.
And look, I used to grow hay. I had a farm down on the Murray River. I grew hay for a little while, and it was all of the horses and all of the cattle people that were down there. They wanted megajoules and testing done on the hay to say that it was good quality for that, right? And I look at all of this cheap food that we have in our, that looks pretty and colourful in the Woolworths space, and I'm like, nobody ever tests it for nutrition. Where is a nutritional test for the value of the food that we have these days? It's grown so quickly and so cheaply that that there's no nutrition in it. And why do I know that? Because
on the bag, Jody, have a look. It's got nutrition and nutrition and X amount of kilojoules. Yeah, no, they tell you. Yeah.
All full of shit, sugar and five syllable things that, if you can't pronounce the words that are in your products, then you probably shouldn't be eating them.
Shouldn't be eating them.
But,
Anything that ends in a night or a rate or a
that's right. I mean, but like apples, and that people say, oh, apples are so cheap, or avocados are so cheap, but the nutritional value of them. Otherwise, why do we need to have a world full of people that are either on medication for ailments that can't be cured, or on supplements for some things that we don't have in our systems anymore? Magnesium, fish oils, vitamin C, vitamin D. Why do we need all that if we have a fresh food triangle that tells us that eating the right thing on an Aussie diet would make you healthy, and yet we always need medication or supplements? It's bullshit.
Because that triangle's upside down, Jody. Flip it upside down and start eating, mate. Then you'll see that when the triangle looks like this, it all works.
Yeah.
Now we've got a clip here for a very interesting story. We like a bit of bizarre stuff around here. And it's a bar that basically decided to host a heterosexual month.
Declared June Heterosexual Awesomeness Month. And oh boy, the controversy is out of control. The place is called Old State Saloon, and all their patrons are hyped about it. They're like giving out free beer to straight guys and discounts to straight couples, and there's a day for straight women too. And they're getting like death threats and stuff in the DMs. The news is eating it up. But the part that I think is really interesting is that X is like fucking with their account. It's a new account, but I went and tried to follow it. And check out what happens when you try to follow Old State Saloon. Every time you refresh, it's gone. They've been up like above 1,000 followers over and over and over again, and it keeps on coming all the way back down. They've been posting a bunch of screenshots of the evidence of their follower count just getting decimated. It's like, what's going on, Elon? I even went to other pages and came back. Can't follow them. And I was digging through their Facebook and just wanted to highlight that there are some LGBTQ people out there that don't take life too seriously and have senses of humor and aren't stressed and aren't hating. I think everyone takes the world way too seriously and is way too easily offended by things. It's like, way to go, William. Way to not just...
We'll leave it there.
That's gold.
All right. Quick story. Our mine, I won't name the mines. They love the LGBTQ2+ movement stuff, and no worries. You do you, over 18-year-old. I'm not too worried about it. Stay away from the kids, or you'll know about it. And they came to us the other day with Ida Hobbit Day. They celebrate each year Ida Hobbit Day, International Day Against Home and Transphobia. And so I simply asked the HR department for the stats. When we have Are You OK Day, when we have a safety day, when we have NAIDOC week. We get the stats on that sort of stuff. So I asked them what the stats were, and they said, get out, Jody, out. And I'm like, you can't have a day for discrimination if you don't have the stats against it. Anyway, they said, no, this is about calling it out when you see it. So a couple of weeks later, they had their Christmas thing the other week where they had the kids, underprivileged kids. They had boy tags and they had girl tags. So I walked into the main HR offices and I started blowing the whistle. And I called out discrimination because they didn't have, non-binary option there. So they were discriminating to make the children either be boy or girls. And I'm never a fan. They're never a real big fan of the Jody humor in there. But I'm like, hey, you're in. So they told me to get out. And the next day, all the tags were gone. So I must have wore them down. But it's just out of control. You know what I mean? And they don't necessarily support it. They're just getting told by these corporate models from way up the top and all the way down to the point where it's
the same with me trying to visit my dad at the moment, Jody. We've got. There's a sign out there in the foyer that says that masks must be worn in this area. Me and Mella refuse, and we haven't seen my dad since he's been moved because they won't let us in. They won't even bring him out to see us. We tried that today, and no, they won't. They just will not comply, right? But anyway, they're you ought to seen the day me and Mella sitting in there waiting for the police because they said they rung the police. We're going, yeah, cool, send them up. You know what I mean? Let's have a chat. So, and next minute they've got all the staff. And they're running around and everyone's been told to put masks on, and we've got all this video with no one with masks on. And then all of a sudden, Guru and Mella there, panics hit the office. They've locked themselves in until the police get here, right? Seriously, man, right? And they got all the staff in the foyer and the reception area running around now all with duck masks on because we've got everyone on film. It's just incredible, man. They had to turn on the act,
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Go on.
No, I just thought, like, I mean, this is what we talked about when I rang you the other day. I'm just like, if either of us have actual a history of violence, if during any time during these times where we've been anything other than had peaceful protesting, of the times, I would understand. But they have no have no grounds to show that there's anything that is threatening about me or you walking into an area, and yet still they are publicly trying to paint us as the paint you particularly the person that's going to cause some sort of unruly riot,
The crazy part about it is, of course, that like it's all coming out now it's hitting mainstream media, as you can see with these numerous studies. This is Herald Sun reported that COVID-19 vaccinations may induce myocarditis, pericarditis, autoimmune diseases. They're going with that, and they're still actually putting on the act, while the real things like this. Now, we reported yesterday on the potential cancer cluster that was being investigated with 5 women who had developed thyroid cancer. Now, somebody's got to take a photo of that, and what is there but one of those 5G things up the top there. So they're kind of like it's all bait and switch, isn't it? It's all like deceiving you with what's really bad for you, and carrying on a great big deal about what is not a big deal. It's all deflection tactics.
Well, Pfizer, and I think it was Pfizer and one other of them just went a couple of year and a half ago or 2 years ago, went and bought some major cancer research facilities, just coincidentally, and what do you know, business is booming.
Well, yes, of course, but they're so evil that they have to profit on you, like they induce it and then they profit off you as they do it. It's just. It blows my mind sometimes that they're just that bad. Look, let's have a look at this. We've just got a situation here in Australia, like with this fella here, and guess who he is? He is the Chief Medical Officer of Australia, Paul Kelly. And yesterday he was in a Senate estimates, and guess what he's wearing? Anyone see that little badgie there? Let's have a look at it. No, it's the WEF sustainability. Basically, WEF sustainability badge. Now, World Economic Forum, Davos, all of that sort of stuff. They are front for the UN. It's just they're just outrageous. They just don't even
in your face, guys. In your face. They're wearing them into our parliament. Like, are you joking me?
Yeah, and the amount of information out there for the average Aussie with 2 incomes, two people working, trying to raise kids, do sport, pay the bills, and as the bills continue to go up, doing overtime just to keep their head above water, and then trying to find some sort of reliable information source that even what we bring to them, we try and educate, not intimidate, or not make people fearful of it. I try and type, the noise in the corner of the room. You put the torch on it, and you realise it's a bloody mouse, and you can go back to sleep even though that the same noise is there, because you're not. That's what I try to be, the light to make the noise not seem so scary, and so that you can deal with it. But these people, they've got to try and get their information in these small little windows, and it's just bullshit from the mainstream media at every level. Everything's okay. It's all good. $1.4 trillion worth of debt, no problem.
Every time I put my torch in the corner, all I see is rats, mate, not mice. They're frigging big rats.
That's right. All right, we've got a bit of house cleaning to do. We've got Chicks Freedom Gathering. That's free camping. That's Saturday, 13th of July at 5 p.m. at the Moga Pub. Really awesome meals there, and she's got a lineup of entertainment and guests. And we've also got the We Will Not Be Silenced, Nick Patterson, Damien Richardson, Craig Cole, Stop Mass Immigration and Protect the Children, 6:30 p.m. Wednesday, June 19th. With audience Q&A, and that is at the Polish Club in Melbourne. We also have to offer an apology here. What we've been told is somebody has worked for Troy Thompson, who we highlighted last night. And anyway, she's said that the previous mayor, Jenny Hill, is behind all of this, using the corrupt Stephen Miles and state member Scott Stewart. And so it's actually a setup, and it's been instigated, and the main perpetrator behind it appears to be Jenny Hill.
Yep. So I would like to put out a personal apology there to that gentleman. All right. Sorry if we jumped the gun there, bloke. And we would like to offer you, Mr. Troy Thompson, a spot on the show to come and expose the criminality in your council up there at Townsville. So, again, please accept our apologies, and please accept an invitation to come on the show and open these cretins up to what they actually are. So, again, sorry again, Troy. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Now, the closing story before we just finalise things is there's been a lot of stuff that's been going. Well, it's been recently announced that Kate Middleton will not be returning to public life, but she's technically not really been seen since December. Now, what's interesting is somebody's put this together. So Thomas Kingston dies on February 25th. February 28th, there's an article is published explaining what happens if Prince William commits a serious crime. February 29th, it appears that William has got bruises on his neck. However, what's very interesting at the moment is somebody that's weighed in on it is Tori Says, who we've actually had on the show, and she's a former CIA contractor, and she has put this up. And she's actually said, oh, she's dead. So that would be hard unless plastics do a good job in making Rose look like her. Hence the old photo used for AI video of her announcement are people that simple that they can't see. Now, last week we published we showed where a photo of Kate on a magazine actually looks a lot like Rose Hanbury. And we were questioning why that was. So what I find interesting about what this person says is she's still got security clearance. So it's very interesting that she should actually make that statement. And it is a statement. She's not asking a question. She's made a statement there. So
have you ever seen the Indian space landing the other day, about 6 months ago? But, when you talk about what people will accept as real or not, I think the Kate Middleton thing looks pretty good compared to watching the Indian lander land on the moon for $70 million.
Gold, wasn't it gold, Jody? I mean, I was really sitting there with a controller, going, man, I reckon I can do a better job here.
Hey, I love those games back in the 80s. They were awesome, But to see the little Indian Prime Minister with his flag going, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. I thought we'd do a better job on this for production.
without what was his name? Spielberg. Yeah, look. Oh, who was it? No, it was the guy that done the Cruikshank, wasn't it? It was the guy that done the moon one. The producer. Stanley, I think. Yeah, Stanley.
Yeah. Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
Well, the American one said that they smashed the camera, and the Japanese one said that when it landed, it fell over with the camera facing down. So I guess they didn't even bother putting out. They did billions of dollars worth, and they didn't even bother putting out any footage. So I mean, at least credit to India for trying to look at that.
Oh, that's gold. All right. Okay. Where are we, Cazza?
All right. So, Jody, what's your final words? And then Dave can close the show. And we've got a comedian taking us out tonight.
In the last couple of weeks, particularly the last 4 to 6 weeks, if you have been feeling flat, if you have been feeling confused, hopeless, crushed, if you feel like the energy is dense, if you feel like the weight has doubled on top of you and that gravity is pulling you down, know that you are not alone. This is a symptom of the system that is that we are working against at the moment, and everybody's feeling it. So just stay strong, keep your chin up, hold your energy, and fight another day. I promise you that this will come to an end soon, and you just have to keep going. But you have to do it on your own terms and with your own energy. Okay, so do your best to keep your head above water. Everybody is feeling what you are feeling. You are not alone, and I can tell you that because thousands of people respond to me whenever I do these videos about the mental health stuff and about the pressure. So, look after yourself. We're in this fight. We are winning. We are making a David and Goliath story come true. And thanks for having me on again, guys. As always.
No worries, Jody.
No, thank you.
And listen, guys. Just remember, tomorrow never comes. All right, because when it's tomorrow, it's today. All right. So forget about doing things tomorrow. Just get it into your head. You're doing it today. Why? Because today's the first day of your life. Every day you wake up, it could be the first day, you know, there's something different. All right. So just as my wife says to me, just get up and keep going. Okay. That's what we got to do, guys. Yeah, it is heavy at the moment. They're coming at us. All right. I've been crook. Mel's been crook. The dog, the cat, they're picking on us, guys. All right. But I tell you what, whenever I've been picked on in my life, you know what I mean? Whether it was surfing, soccer, fighting, karate, whatever, it always made me dig a bit deeper to get that next punch with a little bit more power in it. All right. So let's go, guys. Everyone who's doing your thing on the weekend, Forest of the Fallens, Billboard Battalions, whatever Jody's doing, right? Roadside Warriors, guys, just go and get into it. All right. Go and get the word out. Start getting into your community. Right. We know what we've got to do, guys. The job's ours. Okay. Everyone have a very, very safe weekend. And I pray there's no more rain for the East Coast. Thanks again, Jody.
No worries. Anytime. Thanks for having me.
All right, we've got a comedian taking us out. Make felonies great again.
34 felonies, right? Don't, he'll twist it, man. He'll make it fun. He'll make it cool. It's fine. 34 counts. Nobody's done it. Nobody can do that. Nobody can do it. 34. It's never been done. Our numbers are so big. These are big numbers. 34. El Chapo couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. 22 times. What a failure. Guilty on 22 counts. I said, what an amateur. 34. No, we're doing better. Al Capone couldn't do it. 27 counts, which is really beginner stuff. That's beginner stuff. He couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. The Zodiac Killer. Can you believe this? 9 counts. I go, what is this, amateur hour? 9 counts. The Zodiac. I call him the Zodiac Loser. That's what I call him. That's what I call him. We are going to jail, and we are going to jail so quick and so strong, and nobody's going this quick. 2 days. We'll be there in 2 days. We're making felonies great again. That's what we're doing. I'll be out in the yard, right? The jail yard. Catch me outside. I'll be out in the yard. Shackles. These are going to be great shackles. Golden. We're going to get the golden shackles. They say Trump's yard right there. Trump's yard.